Okay, welcome to today's session on midlife coping strategies for dads. Really appreciate you being here today. Looking forward to speaking to this topic, as a lot of the clients that I assist and help through my coaching practice, Engage Coaching Group, in the initial intake form that I have them complete, time and time again, the key thing that they're looking to solve for is coping strategies for things that are happening in their life. And 90% of the clients that I help are men, and they actually are dads as well. So looking to be able to speak directly to challenges that come up midlife around coping with different aspects of life that show up. So welcome today on May 4th. May the 4th be with you for the Star Wars fans that are watching here. So it's going to start things off and share this. I found this this infographic from the Huffington Post as a little flow chart to see if you're going through a midlife crisis. And so maybe spend a minute or so and just kind of flow through and see where you end up. First question is, do you own a Porsche? Do you drive a Porsche? Which a lot of people going through a midlife crisis may go out and buy a sports car potentially. So yeah, just give you a minute to go through this. Yeah, and this is just really just a fun way just to kind of see, where you're at as far as midlife and different things that may be top of mind for you, things that you may be struggling with or kind of concerned about. Noticing that different professionals that you encounter on a daily basis, are they seeming quite young? Or your teenage kids starting to be able to wear your clothes. I know my son's just becoming a teenager, and he's pretty much can wear my shoe size now, which is pretty crazy. I never thought that would happen at before grade 8. And just pondering life purpose. Is there anything that you're worrying about the future? So these are just, I wouldn't say this is a complete diagnosis if someone's having a midlife crisis, but it's kind of just a gauge to see where you're at with different aspects of your life. So today, what I'm going to go through is I'm going to talk about the coping strategies that I find a lot of men that I help and what I read about and different research in that is the different coping strategies that men tend to use. And we want to talk about these are ones that are typically the ones to avoid, right? They're not actually helping, even though they may seem like it at the time. And then looking at, okay, so what strategies work? What are the ones that actually get you to where you want to get to? And ultimately look at, okay, so what are ways to have more fulfillment out of your career? A lot of men at midlife can have a bit of an epiphany that the career they're in may be paying them quite well, and they've been doing it for a long time, but the fulfillment aspect of it is kind of faded, and the excitement isn't there like it used to be. And they may have dreamed of owning their own business or being in a certain type of career that perhaps didn't happen, and they're now in reflection of, okay, they may be feeling a bit stuck. Okay, I'm in this career, I could keep doing this for the next 15, 20 years, but how happy am I actually going to be? And then looking at, ways to improve your relationship with your partner and with your kids, and how to be a better parent and be a better partner overall, in addition to looking at your career. So this is a little bit of a survey that I found around midlife crisis. Is in the States. There was a poll that was done to look at how many people are experiencing some type of midlife crisis. And basically a quarter of the people that people that were surveyed reported having a midlife crisis. And most of the participants that were surveyed said that the midlife crisis occurred before age 40 and after age 50. So that was kind of the windows of time that a lot of them had experienced it. And of that 26% that had a midlife crisis, they actually said it was brought on by a major event versus their age. So it's these, at this time of life, there's certain events that are coming up that are causing that crisis or anxiety or stress levels to go up in ways that wouldn't have necessarily happened, in our 20s, let's say. So I just wanted to share a little bit about myself when we, and my journey through my own midlife crisis. This is a picture of me in at a townhouse that I owned during my first marriage, and I look pretty happy in this picture, but I was struggling quite a bit at this time. There was a basement in this townhouse that I spent a number of evenings in. I remember at the computer. It's a dark basement. I don't even think there was a window in the room, if I remember correctly. If there was, it was very small, and not a lot of light was getting in. And there's lots of boxes just scattered around. It wasn't a very organized room because we'd just been moving in over the last few months. And I was searching online for answers to my challenges, because I was finding myself in midst of a separation that I didn't anticipate was going to happen. This was a brand new home, and within that we'd moved into, home new to us, and upon moving in, within 3 months, was informed that my partner at the time wanted to separate. And so I was struggling with all the different things of what's wrong with me, why is this happening to me. And a lot of fear had shown up, as my oldest son at that time was just around 2 years old, and what's the impact this is going to have on him? What are people going to think? How am I going to get through this kind of thing? And there was one evening in the basement there where I had a bit of an epiphany, and I recognized that I needed to stop asking myself what's wrong with me, and ask myself, what is this for? And start to look at the gifts as to, if any, and at the moment it didn't seem like there was any, but what is the purpose of this, going through this separation, which ultimately led to a divorce? There must be something here that I'm not seeing right now that I need to work on, and recognizing there was an internal process that I needed to go through, and not look for an outside solution. And so within about 5 to 7 years, I came through that. And so now today, I've labeled myself as a mental wellness coach, because of the men that I help are primarily, they're dealing with mindset or mental health challenges, that and supporting them through that, because it's they don't need help necessarily with things outside of themselves, but it's more of an internal struggle that's going on. There's stress that's happening and it's unexplainable. There's anxiety that's showing up, these types of things. So I've spoken to different organizations, done some training, and the book that you see there is Engage, Connect, Grow, is a Amazon bestseller that I wrote to provide lessons to help essentially with ways to cope, and that are healthy and helpful. And we're going to go through some of those today. And so I help primarily men. 90%, as I said, are men, and they're aged 30 to 50 years old, and they're really looking for better ways to cope with stress at work, maybe going through a job loss, relationship challenges, and parenting their children in that. And so today we're going to go through and we're going to talk about midlife and what happens at midlife. So I just wanted to throw out there and kind of get anybody that wants to share. You can share in the chat, or you can come off mute if you'd like. But what are some of the things that happen? I know I've highlighted some of them already, but just to kind of get your perspective. So what are some things that can happen at midlife that trigger that stress or that anxiety?
Perhaps some event which changes your perspective from being more of a child to becoming more of an adult. like having to look at things in a very through a very different lens.
Yeah. And Cameron, do you have an example of that? Like what that event may look like?
And just challenges at work could bring
Yeah.
them up, like even feeling stuck or things of that nature.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Just to be.
You have to push yourself towards change, and you find yourself resisting change, and you sort of land up in that struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. And could it be like a moment where there's almost this um, recognition that a lot of the new people coming in are a lot younger, and just the weight of maybe being in an organization for a long period of time, and what the future looks like? Is that what
Right. And
you're
then what
saying?
is it
Yeah.
all for, as you mentioned? Like, what's the point?
What's the
I
point,
guess
right?
ultimately.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's really good. Yeah. Yeah. So there's definitely these kind of moments that can happen, as we are at the midpoint of our life, and then they may come out of the blue, where it's just all of a sudden there's a realization of maybe a perspective that hadn't really been looked at, that creates a bit of fear and anxiety, right? So yeah, so it could be work related. It could be, whether it's you're actually still at your workplace, and you've been there for maybe 5, 10+ years, and just things are going okay, but like I said earlier, maybe the passion for it, the fulfillment for it is just not there. A lot of people experience job loss, and there may be a number of people that have experienced this during COVID, because I know that there's been different ways that employers have had to let people go, whether it's actually a layoff or they've decided to label a position redundant, and that it's no longer needed because of where the company's vision and focus is going. It could be a relationship breakdown, as I mentioned, that I went through, and it could be a separation or a divorce, or it could be that there's just communication breakdown happening in a relationship, or something's coming up that's causing extra stress to relationship, and it's adding to more fear of where are things headed from here, right? It could be a loss of a loved one. It could be a loss in the family or a friend, and that could cause additional anxiety and grief that's coming up, because as we enter that midlife age, we're seeing people that are important to us pass away, whether it's parents, grandparents, other loved ones in that. So this is a point in life where we may start to see this happening more, and there's more grieving that's happening, and recognizing that we're not the young one anymore, right? And then there could be financial constraints, financial stress that's happening as well at midlife, and realizing that to have the lifestyle that you've dreamed of or wanted to have, and to be able to retire at a certain age, perhaps certain things have happened leading up to where you're at right now, and where you thought you'd be in your financial situation is not, because you're not there right now, and trying to contemplate and figure out, okay, how is it going to be possible to get to where you want to get to, right? So this can cause stress and a lot of anxiety potentially around all these different things. So if these things are happening, what are the typical ways that we may tend to cope? I'll just throw it out there. You can enter in the chat or off mute. Comrade?
Ignore them. Hide your head in the sand and just pretend like they'll go away.
Yeah, ignore them. Right. Yeah. Any others?
Misdirected anger, misdirected frustration, where you're not getting to the root cause of it because you're not recognizing what's actually driving it.
Right. So misdirected anger could be towards a coworker or a family member, and it's
family
really,
member,
yeah.
It could just come out, exhibit itself in ways that are not useful or
Right.
constructive to trying to deal with the underlying question of what's the point.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Yeah. So that's, so they, mood swings and, anger especially can come up, and it may not be intended for, that particular person, but that moment has just sparked it, and it's resulted in it. Right. Yeah. So there's a whole variety of ways. So alcohol consumption or consuming different drugs, and that can be a way to hide and avoid, as you talked about, or putting your head in the sand. This could be one way of actually doing that, whether you're
Mm-hmm.
um, using alcohol as that type of format, or just binge watching shows. Can be another way to hide and to avoid what's really going on. And perhaps spending, staying up till 3-4 in the morning, not getting a lot of sleep because, watching these various programs, and then going to work the next day and not having enough sleep, not having enough energy, and that could actually impact mood as one aspect of it, or it could just be the events and unfolding that are happening where the mood, where more anger, more frustration, more irritations going on. And like you said, Carmen, the root cause is not being addressed. Could be weight gain, right? Not exercising and not taking care of your health and eating healthy, right? Just eating more fried foods, eating out more, not going to the gym or not exercising as often as you may have, and the result is gaining more weight that can affect your heart, it can affect your overall health and your ability to do the things you like to do. A lot of men like playing video games. I know I have over the years, and just it can get to the point where, again, similar to binge watching shows, is it to the point where it's consuming a lot of time either in the evening, or time that is being taken away with time with kids and family, and it's becoming more of a almost an addiction or an obsession versus just something to do for an hour or two a week kind of thing, right? And as we talked about in that little infographic at the beginning, going out and buying a sports car, right? Some type of a dream car, or and it could be any type of item that has been your dream to have, and it's an excessive amount of money to go out and do it, and you may not necessarily have it, or that money may be put aside for something else, but just going out and doing it anyway, to meet that short-term kind of satisfaction of owning it. And then the other thing could be it could be just buying other types of toys or engaging in other types of activities. So I'm just showing an ATV here as becoming heavily involved in doing, maybe it's an off-road activity, with a bunch of friends, and it starts off as 1 or 2 weekends a year, and then it comes to the point where it's almost every weekend. Time is being spent away from family, friends, and that could be an outdoor activity. It could be watching sports, and getting to the point where those sports are the only thing that matters versus connecting with other people that are important to us. So, these are just kind of those types of activities that they seem like they're helpful because they're avoiding what's going on. But at the end of the day, it's just, it ends up being something that becomes more of the focus, and less, as you said, Cameron, looking at what's really going on underneath. Right. And so these are the coping strategies, essentially, to avoid as much as possible, and become aware of, sooner than later, that okay, this is not going to be helpful. This is actually going to be more harmful, and not get me where I want to get to. And so, what are the healthy strategies? If we were to just kind of brainstorm some of the healthy strategies, what would they be?
Well, I know through your work with me, I know like journaling has been important to sort of recognize and acknowledge sort of what stressors may exist.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise, of course.
Yeah.
exercise is a good one. And being present, like taking a second to catch yourself from wandering away and just being present in the moment and enjoying it.
Yeah, those are really good. Yeah. So journaling, um, and journaling, it seems like a very simple act to do, right? And I'm just curious, Colin, like when you started journaling, did you have a sense that it would be helpful, or was it more just, oh, I'll try this and see if it'll work kind of approach?
I was not very I was not that enthralled with it. I used to write when I was much younger during my teenage years, and then I gave it up completely.
Yeah,
And then I wasn't that convinced that it would help, here. But I will say that over the years, as you've pushed me to do it, it's become quite an important part of. No, I wouldn't say coping, but just being more, recognizant of what's really going on, and
yeah,
just being more mindful and more present with all of the fears and uncertainties.
for sure. And I hope you didn't feel I was pushing you, as more encouraging you to do it.
Oh, no. And
As
so
for sure.
pushing is a bad word. I think and pushing is not bad for me personally,
Right,
because I
right.
do really appreciate now having that
Yeah.
tool in my toolkit.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, and there's tons of research that because I've journaled a lot over the years, and I didn't even realize the research that backs it up, that it can help with mood, it can help with mental health, but it also can help with physical health as well. There's lots of research that shows that if people are able to use journaling on a consistent basis and just get out all the negativity, but also embrace the positive stuff that's going on, it can actually improve liver function and immunity strength and all kinds of things. It's pretty powerful. Yeah. And exercise is definitely um, a great way to help with mental health, and it's been proven that just getting those endorphins and releasing any tension in that can help with exercising. And it doesn't have to be intense. It can be a 15-minute walk a day, right? And it doesn't have to be becoming a major bodybuilder or a marathon runner or what have you. It can just be something simple that you're doing on a regular basis. And then, like as you said, being present, it's really important to the more present we can be with what's actually happening, with our feelings, with our thoughts, with our behaviors, these types of things. It allows us to have that ability to ensure that we're actually being the person that we want to be and taking the right steps that we of where we want to get to. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. And then I just put this slide together, and so exercise is on here as well. I'm just going to make it bigger here so we can see. Yeah, eating healthy, drinking more water, journaling is on here. Getting more sleep is definitely beneficial to helping with mental health and stress. Adults over 18, the recommended amount of sleep is 7+ hours a night. And I looked up, and just a fun fact, Elon Musk gets 6 to 6.5 hours sleep, so he's just under there. But the article that I read said he does believe sleep is important, so he gets at least 6.5. But the goal is ideally to get 7 or more hours of sleep. Connecting with family, meditating, accessing a coach or a mentor, using a course, some type of course online can help as well. Learning and improving your learning about different topics, and drinking more water and eating healthy. So these are just the healthy ways, and some of them one that you've probably heard before. And one of the things that is good to reflect on is there's a lot of things that we know are healthy, but why aren't we not embracing them? Like, how come I know I need to go exercise, I know I need to drink more water, or improve my eating habits, but what is motivating me not to? Like, why am I believing that I need to go have that drink, or just go out and get that fast food because it gives that short-term satisfaction, right? So it's exploring the more of the internal side of things as much as possible. Actually, I'm gonna put this back up here. So just to kind of do a bit of an assessment on that is on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your ability to cope during difficult times? And you can enter in the chat, and we could just get your feedback on that. Like, where are you at on this scale? So 1 being the lowest, and 10 being that you are really good, and your ability to cope and move through stress is, you're at like the highest level. And then the midpoint is you've got some good tools and your good skills that you're aware of, but there's still some room to work on in there on that. Yeah, so it's good to kind of have an idea of where you're at in that scale, and your ability to cope with stress and access those healthy strategies. And when I look at the different types of approaches that people have to improving in this area, you can separate it into 4 buckets. So there's the red bucket, that's the status quo mindset. And that's just under 4 on that rating. And the status quo mindset is individuals that they're set in their ways a bit, right? So they're not open to change. They're just going to keep doing the things the way that they've always done them, and there's no real opening or openness to try and do things differently. And so there's that. I'm going to follow the status quo. This is the way it's going to be. And they're just going to keep doing the same behaviors, same thought patterns, and getting the same result time and time again. Then you have people in that planner mindset. And so these are people that are, they're doing the research. They know that there's something that's happening for them. They're recognizing that they're not able to handle the stress that they used to. They're fighting. Maybe they're getting into more arguments with their spouse, or there's more conflict happening at the workplace, and they know that there's something going on there. So they're taking some courses, or they're at this point actually they're researching some courses. They're gathering information about different ways of doing things. They're not taking action yet. So they haven't taken that course yet, but they're like, okay, this is an option I could take to help me learn about this, or this is a resource I could use. And so they're really good at planning on where they want to get to. They haven't taken that action yet. And then the action mindset individual is one so they've done that research, and now they're actually taking the steps to improve. And they know that they need to improve. They have a desire to improve who they are. And so they're taking courses. They're actually, the things that they're learning, they're applying relatively immediately. And when things don't work, they're going to adjust, and they're going to, try to see if they can do things differently. But they've almost got like a checklist of things they want to get done, and they're just checking them off. Okay, I got to do this every day. I got to do this, and this. I got to go exercise. I got to eat healthy. I got to drink this much water. And they're just checking off the boxes, and they're moving forward, and they're seeing results, but they're not actually. They don't feel fully connected to them. So they're getting some good results there, but the fulfillment side of things is not quite there. And this is where we talk about this blue zone, this purple zone, which is the thriving mindset. So this is getting to a point where there's absolute, belief in who they are. These individuals, they know who they are. They're going to move forward based on their values and their beliefs and what they stand for, and they definitely know what they need to do to get to reach their goals. But they're also very, very solid at who they are. And at the same time, they're open to still learning new things and new approaches, but they're going to access their intuition more. So they're definitely going to do certain, engage in certain behaviors on a daily basis. But it's not about checking off the checkbox. It's more about being connected to who they are and what they value, and making sure that, if a stress comes up, they're able to handle it in a more reflective way, focused on curiosity. And before they respond to somebody, they're going to make sure that they've been emotionally responsible themselves, so that they're not going to react in a hurtful way to somebody. They're going to actually, if anger comes up, they're going to reflect on that and say, okay, what's really going on here, and be able to go back to that person and respond in a way that's not blaming, it's not attacking or judging them in any way. All right, so now we're going to move into some exercises for you to be able to look at and reflect on yourself, and to help you essentially move to that thriving type of mindset. And so the first thing that I'm going to encourage you to look at is your behaviors. And I've just provided some examples here just to kind of look at what may be showing up for you when stress and anxiety shows up. So is your go-to to get angry and to get into conflict with people, or do you feel, and it may not actually vocalize it. It may just be that there's a lot of frustration inside of you, and it results in more one-word kind of responses, or just complying, but really actually inside feeling quite frustrated and angry, but not going to vocalize it. So is that a behavior that you engage in? Do you embrace more being a Superman, so that you're just going to go out and you're going to just do everything for everybody, solve all their problems, be the hero, but inside there's no fulfillment in it. You're not actually feeling that you're getting anything out of it, because the motivation is just to make everybody else happy and safe, so that the conflict is minimized, or avoided completely, right? Or are you in a more of a, you kind of go into more of a blaming mode, or is there manipulations that may be happening, where is there some game playing that's going on to try to get people to get to where you want them to be? Are you hiding? So hiding could be just avoiding. It could be drinking. It could be just not engaging in, it could be taking time off work, and not really being sick, but just kind of hiding out and not wanting to engage in things. It may be just avoiding difficult conversations, or are you an active listener? Are you reflecting more on, when a stressor comes up, or a difficult conversation, or these fearful thoughts about the future? Like, are you more reflecting on it and kind of contemplating, okay, so how come this is, what is this, the reason for this thought coming up, and is it actually true, right? And if you're communicating to somebody, are you using more I statements versus, you did this or you did that, and saying, I felt this when this happened. For me, this is what's important to me, because I was feeling quite frustrated about such and such situation, but using more I statements, and taking responsibility. So, I recognize that I raised my voice when I shouldn't have, and I'm going to own that, and I'm going to work on ensuring that I don't do that next time we have a conversation about this, for example. And being curious. So if somebody is sharing their viewpoint, and you may not agree with it fully, is to be curious about, what could be going on for them? How come that's important to them? Right. And embracing curiosity more, and empathy, and trying to put yourself in their shoes. And then another behavior is your eating habits. So are they healthy habits? Are they unhealthy? So, spend a moment and just write down your behaviors that you're engaging in consistently right now, and notice if there's any patterns. And then look at, is there a simple act that you can do to change one or more behaviors, right? So just give you a moment just to reflect on that and write down things there. And if anything's coming up and you want to share, feel free to do so.
One common pattern for me is just like trying to externalize the source of my stress, and trying to not recognize that it's that I can deal with it in some other way, as opposed to just finding a point of blame for it.
Okay. Yeah. So finding, okay, what's, who's causing this situation, and then instead empowering yourself as to what you have control over. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's important. It's important to reflect on um, what can you control, and as well, is that story actually happening? Is that, is it actually true, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So because the a key thing when it comes to behaviors is to looking at, is this behavior going to help me connect with others and myself? Am I connecting with myself and others, or am I actually is it an avoidance strategy? And if you can identify that it's an avoidance strategy, that immediately is an indicator that the behavior that you're engaging in is not going to it's not going to bring you to connecting with who you want to be and be able to connect effectively with others. So that's just a simple kind of checkpoint to, when a behavior shows up, is okay, is this helpful for me? Is this helpful for others? Am I actually able to step forward and connect effectively, or am I actually just is this avoidance strategy? All right. Beliefs are another thing to look at, is when these different stressors come up at midlife, is, it's reflecting on, okay, what are my beliefs about career, right? Was I taught that I need to be in a job for 20, 30 plus years and then just retire, and then I can do what I want, right? Is that kind of beliefs that were ingrained through childhood? Or what's your beliefs around money, around being married, around parenting? What's your beliefs around, being 40 or 50 or 60? Is there beliefs there about your health and your future that may not be true? Right? And perhaps they've just been taught to you since you were a kid, since you were younger, and those beliefs are being embraced, and they're not actually ones that you want to move forward with. So when we talk about what action can you take to embrace the truth about your life, it may also be an action of, okay, what beliefs do I need to let go of here? What beliefs are not actually true? What is true about me? And I need to step into those beliefs that are true about myself. And then another exercise to look at is your values. So what are the things that you value most in your life? And you actually you can find indicators of these based on your behaviors, and your beliefs. Is what are the things that you value? Do you actually value, your appearance and how you look in front of others? Do you value being popular? Do you value money, and you need to have that, to show that you've been successful, right? Do you value connecting with other people and having those good relationships? Do you value being authentic? So values are a good indicator of what you may be investing your time and energy into. And you can actually, it also be an exercise of, okay, are these things that are actually important, or are they actually getting to me where I want to get to? If I want to be have a full life, as a parent, as a partner, as a professional, are the things that I'm right now valuing, are those actually getting me that, right? And so reflecting on, okay, so what do you value in your life? And is there any patterns there? What do you notice about the things that you're valuing right now? And what values do you want to embrace? Like, what are the things that are really important to you that you want to embrace? And you may have heard a lot of exercises around doing your values, and I know a lot of people just kind of roll their eyes and and don't want to invest a lot of time and energy in it. But if you do, it actually can get you to potentially where you want to really get to, because you're essentially creating a solid foundation of what's important to you, and that foundation can now help you get to the life that you want, the career that you want, the relationship you want, and be the parent that you want to be, right? Because then now you're stepping into these values, and when you're not, if there's moments where you're not, then because you know that that's a value for you, uh, you can then adjust and come back on track. Is hang on a second here, I'm going off track of my values. This is actually important to me. I need to hold my integrity here. And it can be tough in some organizations where you work, some places where people work, they may be asked to do things that are not it's not not consistent with their values, and that can sometimes be in a sales driven organization, where certain types of conversations or certain approaches may be difficult, and that may be where people are stuck, as they're actually where they're being asked to go with the client and talk about with the client. It may not be in alignment with their values, and how do they see if there's a way to stand for their values and remain there, or do they have to consider, is this organization I'm with actually in alignment with my values and what's important to me and how I help people, right? And then there may be values that you may want to let go. And similar to beliefs, is there may be values that you're following. They may be superficial values that you thought were getting you to where you want to get to, and they're not actually working. Is it maybe those ones are the ones you want to let go of, right? Or maybe not. You get to decide, but determining are these values true? Are you truly connected to them and able to stand for them as non-negotiable values for you? Because at the end of the day, there's this ideal experience that you want to have as a father, as a partner, and a professional. And so the other aspect of this is, once you have a really good sense of the beliefs that are the things that you truly believe in, the values that you believe in, and the behaviors that you want to embrace and invest in, you can then map out what's the ideal experience you want to have as a father, as a partner, and a professional, right? And get into the details of it. What does it sound like? What does it look like? Right? And what does it sound like is, what are you saying when you're in this ideal experience? What are the types of things you're saying? What are you hearing from others? Is there music? Is there the ocean? Maybe your ideal experience is being near the ocean and you're hearing the waves of the ocean, or maybe you're hearing the sounds of airplanes because you want to travel more. So what does the ideal experience look like for you? And what are the images that you see when you imagine it? And then a key aspect is, what does it feel like? So what does it feel like to have that experience? Do you feel happy? Do you feel joy, peaceful? What are the feelings, and connecting to your feelings, which, for me, it took me a number of years to really get a sense of my feelings more and understand them, and recognizing that there's a whole bunch of feelings that we can have in any one moment. We're not like just going from one feeling to the next necessarily. It's not necessarily logical. There's more dynamic to it. And so the more time you can be spending on connecting to your feelings, it'll also help you with, the experience that you want to have. And so I'm going to challenge you to look at, within the next 7 days, what's one commitment that you can make to experience this ideal experience you want to have, right? So what's one thing you can do in the next 7 days? And I challenge you to do this, and would love to hear from you as to how that commitment goes over the next 7 days after doing this exercise. And you can you can either comment in the video here if you're watching the replay, or you can reach out to me on Facebook or LinkedIn, the Engage Coaching Group page, and would just love to hear from you and find out what's happening as far as your commitment is to working towards this experience, knowing that it's a journey and that it may not always be a direct path. And there may be some moments where you're completely on track with that ideal experience you want to have. And then there may be moments where you're not able to be right on track with it, and you have to come back and steer back in the right direction. All right, so just want to get to wrapping up here and kind of concluding things. And to sum up, some of kind of the experience we looked at and looking at the different exercises you did with the reality check there is there's these events that show up at midlife, right? There's job loss. There's, being in a tough work environment, maybe a toxic work environment. There's marriage breakdown. There could be a loss of a loved one. There could be financial crisis, some type of financial struggle, and any types of event that shows up, right? And then you get to respond to it in a certain way, and that response is going to result in an outcome. And this is an equation that I learned from Jack Canfield in his book, The Success Principles. And so based on what we talked about today, that response is going to be directly correlated to the behaviors that you're going to embrace, right? And are those healthy or unhealthy behaviors, right? And looking at your values, are those values truly connected to who you want to be, right? And as well, looking at your beliefs. So looking at your behaviors, your values, and your beliefs are going to get that outcome. And that outcome is that ideal experience you want to have. Right? So spend time really getting to know and become really present to the behaviors that you're engaging in, the values that you're standing for, and the beliefs that you have, and recognizing is there opportunities where some work needs to be done in shifting these and looking at and how to in essentially internally improve in these areas, right? Because one choice you can have is be in survival mode, right? Where you're in that status quo mindset, right? Where there's really, more of a following type of mindset, very resistant to change, and fear is really ruling everything, right? It's quite monotonous, right? So you can choose to be there, or you can be more of that planner mindset in the heightened possibility, in that thinking mindset or planner mindset, and that things could be possible. Not too sure what that looks like yet, but it could be possible. And looking at different options. What are the different options? Doing a lot of reading, doing a lot of research, and then progressing from that contemplation kind of stage to being more actively motivated. So recognizing that things are possible, going to take some action, going to create some new habits, right? And going to be really focused on results and really focus on that ideal experience, right? And get some momentum going, right? Shifting beliefs, shifting values and behaviors to be moving forward. And then working towards getting to a place where, can get above things just going well and being in a place where it's more of a authentic connection type of experience, where things are more authentic. It's that thriving mindset, right? It's purposeful. So there's more of a greater purpose that's driving things, versus just kind of going ad hoc and, being driven based on what others think, right? But having a deeper purpose, a deeper connection to purpose, and being connected to self and really solid in who you are and who you want to be, and then be able to bring that to the others in your life and be able to connect with them. And this is where, I believe miracles can happen, where, and these may be things like if you're in a sales or customer service position, all of a sudden new clients just seem to come to you, and referrals are coming your way, or clients are just saying, nothing but good things about the way that you're treating them and how you're helping them. You may start to have really good conversations with people out of nowhere, right? People that you don't even know, or people in your life all of a sudden have shifted their approach, and they're normally there was conflict happening with them, and all of a sudden it's they want to connect with you and they want to be more curious, and so there's things that can happen once you embrace being more authentic about who you want to be. And the clients that I love to help are in that those yellow and green zones they see the possibility, there's motivation there, and they want to get to that thriving mindset and to be able to work with them to get to that place. So here I just would leave it open for questions and any aha moments people have. But I, just noticed that people have had to leave, and so we're just going to have the recording here. If you have any questions at all, or any insights that you've learned from this session, would love to hear from them. Again, connect with me online, through Facebook or LinkedIn on the Engage Coaching Group pages. It'd be fantastic to hear from you. And a gift that I have for everybody that's coming in and that has attended or is watching the replay of this session is access to a midlife reset session. So basically hitting the reset button and being able to move forward from a better place. And so I'm offering a complimentary midlife reset session where it can help you just clarify, what midlife really means to you. What is it? What do you really want to experience at midlife? Let's look at some key strategies to enable you to get to where you want to get to and have that life that you want. And let's focus on those behaviors, those hidden behaviors and blind spots that are specific to you, that are hindering your success, that are sabotaging, where you want to get to. And let's create a 3-step long-term plan, as well as some action steps, some action items that you can start to do and embrace, in a short period of time to get you there. And ultimately have you leave the session feeling more renewed, inspired, re-energized about your life, your family, and your work, so that you can really embrace where you're at and who you are and who you want to be at this time in your life. So this is something that you want to take advantage of. If you're watching the replay, you can just again reach out on Facebook or LinkedIn and say that you want a midlife reset session, and I'll reach out to you. You can also type in the comments as you're watching this video, midlife reset, and I'll be reviewing the comments as they come in, and I'll reach out to you and be able to set up a time for you to have that session. So I really want to thank you for being here and watching this, the replay. If you're watching the replay, because you've, participating here and going through this session here, you've taken time out to take care of you. And I commend you for that, because not a lot of people do. Not a lot of people just spend time to take care and improve who they want to be. And this quote here by Carl Jung really speaks to my journey, where I was looking outside and dreaming a lot and trying to solve everything from the outside. And when I did the internal work and I started to look inside of me, is when things started to awaken. When I really got to know who I am, who I want to be, and it enabled me to start this this coaching practice to be able to help men like you who are going through those tough times, similar to what I experienced. Because it really I saw the gift in me going through that was the ability to be able to help more men that are experiencing that. And so appreciate you being here. I hope you found this valuable. And if you have any questions, or if you'd like more information, please reach out on engagecoachinggroup.com or on Facebook and LinkedIn, the Engage Coaching Group sites there. All right. Thanks so much for your time. Have yourself a great day.